Welcome back to the Boomerang Podcast. I'm here in the home studio. It's beautiful. I got this flag wall behind me, but in any case, today we have a very special guest and a very good friend, Miss Rachel Blonde. Rachel,
How's
there
it,
you are.
how's it going,
Good. How
Matt?
you doing? Good. How
I
you
like
doing?
I like this little tour inside of your house. I see the wooden panels back there. Did you do that, or was that
It
something?
came like this. Yeah, it came like this. It was made
Okay,
for me.
it was. It was amazing. You need some swag back there, though.
I got all the swag up here and over here. I just haven't really put it up. But in any case, thanks for coming on. Good seeing you last weekend. We were at the Reawaken tour in Detroit.
Yes, and it was great. I got to meet some people that It's weird because you get to know people online, but you really don't feel like you know them until you know they physically exist. Then once you see them in person, you're like, okay, you are a real person. You're not some
Yeah.
AI CGI creation. So I got to meet real people that I've met online, and it was really fun. And of course, just being around other patriots is always a fun weekend.
Well, I'm not nearly as famous as you. Everybody knows you. There were a few people that actually recognized me. I was like, all right, like right on.
I think
But that,
I think you're famous, Matt. You're famous in my book. I know it. So
thank you,
you're
thank
as,
you.
you're as famous as everyone else, So
I like that guy Kelly. That guy Kelly we ran into, who you seem to know, and he's a friend of Ohio Brett.
yes,
He was a very nice guy. I liked Kelly. I got to get in touch with him and just thank him for coming out there and all that good stuff. But it was a good time.
it was really fun, and
We had fun.
it was. And I turned 40 that weekend, and
You did.
so
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
it's out there. I already posted it. It's not a secret. But it was like, should I go or should I stay home? Because you only turn 40 once, and maybe I should be here for my birthday. And my husband's like, no, you should go. Just go and have fun, and we can celebrate when you get back. So when I came back, I don't know how he pulled this off, but I walked in and like my whole family was in my living room. I had no clue. So
That's awesome.
surprised me. I didn't even know. And I got this watch.
Nice. What is it?
I don't know how to say it. Oh, that's funny. It says it's the 17th today. Did you know that?
I did. Yeah.
I looked down and I see
6/17.
Crazy. But
That's awesome.
what's crazy is that at the Reawaken tour, I didn't tell anybody this, but I kept looking at my watch. I would like look at my wrist as if I had a watch on. And I was like, why do I keep doing that? I used to have one of those Apple watches, but then I just got sick of it because it, buzzes every time you get a text message, and it just kind of drove me crazy.
Probably waiting for it to end. Joking.
Yeah, I was like, what? No, I wasn't waiting for it to end. I was just trying to see what time it was. So I was like, that's kind of odd that, I could look at my wrist and then
I think we picked up on some comms there, but before we do it, I want to get into the Lena Haba speech over there.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. We both looked at each other. We're like, yeah, 15 years in the legal field. We're like, okay, like this is the person representing the president of the former president of the United States.
I'm all about prodigies. Okay, if she's a legal prodigy, then I'm here for it. But I'm like, how did she? She's like, yeah, I've done this for 10 years or whatever. I don't know. She said 15 years maybe she'd been doing it. And she's in the biggest case in the history of all of our life, at least in our lifetimes. And she's just this gorgeous, like you said, she looked like a Charlie's Angel. She's wearing these like red leather pants.
Ridiculous.
She looked amazing. And I'm like,
yeah.
How does she
She's pretty stunning.
She's how
She's pretty stunning. 36.
That's younger than both of us, Matt.
It's younger than both of us. And what's so crazy about it is like if you know any lawyers, like like I had a buddy of mine who I went to grew up with, and he went into representing landlords in New York City, and he was probably litigating tenant landlord cases for probably a good 5-6 years before he like got into like some type of practice. So like how much time does that leave out of the 15 years? It's like this. It didn't add up. Like she's definitely. I think she's a plant. That's just my.
I don't know. It's just she just is so well spoken to.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to even make a sentence when I'm on the internet. I feel like
maybe she is a prodigy. Who knows? Who knows?
It's very strange. We had a nice conversation. I said, is this real life? Do you think that something fishy is going on? And you're like, I don't know. We're going all woo-woo, conspiracy theory at the Reawaken tour. But we heard Eric Trump speak too. I think you were standing next to me with when Eric Trump was up there too. And his was amazing, as always. It's just hard to fathom what this family's going through as a son of a former president, and then what the deep state and the clowns are doing to him at this point is just...
It's disgusting.
It is.
Everywhere he goes, he just gets subpoenaed.
Right. And
it's like, we're going to keep your son in court forever. That's the punishment that they're dealing with.
Right. And we've heard it a million times. Donald Trump could have just gone off into the sunset, lived at Mar-a-Lago. He's got a beautiful wife, awesome children. Like, he didn't have to do this. So why these people that don't get it yet? I'm like, really? Why do you think he would do this?
Well, what I would tell people is people should go to your channel, WritesideBlonde. That's right side with a W. Because you do, Rachel, I know we're friends and everything, but I think you do some of the best videography. I would say it's probably just as good as American Prophet. I don't know if you remember the American Prophet videos, but your videos tell a story. Like, how do you do that stuff? Like, you're editing these yourself?
Yeah, I just practice. It's just something that I've always wanted to learn. And I like the more artistic videos. A lot of people will just do a Zoom. Like, this is fine. Having conversations, but I really like to tell stories. I like the poetry side of things. I've always been a poet. I've always wanted to be a writer. So that's just who I am as a person. So it's just, for me, it was kind of a creative outlet, but also just my passion right now is just this country and saving it. So that's one thing that I think God gave me, the gift of some creativity and some writing. And so I'm trying to use that to the best of my ability. And I think all of us have those gifts. I tell my kids that all the time. We all have special gifts that we've been given. It's up to us to find out what those gifts are and figure out the best way to use those, because I wouldn't be a very good, I wouldn't be a very good roofer. That's not one of my skills. Wouldn't want to do it. You wouldn't want me roofing your house.
I don't see you as a roofer. That's for sure.
I could probably learn, but I think I'm just better at
in all seriousness, like, your videos, they tell a story. Like, the first one that I watched was The Color of Tiffany Blue. Tiffany's running around here somewhere, but incredible. I actually thank you again for the birthday gift. I have it literally right below me right now on the first floor, hanging right by the kitchen of your poem. But like episode 69, Trump and JFK Jr. You're doing some really unbelievable analysis of the original George magazines. What are you seeing? What do you find? Tell us, you're reading these things. You're probably the most read person in George magazines. What are you seeing? Give us some insights.
I'm seeing things that I think a lot of people in the 90s just skipped over. They really didn't pay attention to. I think now we're seeing the results of what was playing out in the 90s, and maybe JFK Jr., not maybe, I know he knew what was coming, and he was trying to warn the American public. He was trying to make politics interesting enough for us to actually get interested and do something about it, not just learn about it, but actually take action, to get involved with the political process. And I think he did a good job. And he saw the trend was that politics was marrying entertainment and pop culture. And so he was like, well, what's the next thing? Okay, let's try a magazine. Let's see how that goes. But beyond that, beyond the stories, there's just weird coincidences. I think everyone's aware of the Survival Guide to the Future, which I know you have one, Matt. You've got, how many do you have of those? Just one?
3 of them.
3. You got me beat. I've got 2. We won't tell the audience how much we spent on that collectively. That's embarrassing.
$60.
Let me back up.
Actually, I paid money for one. I paid money for one of them.
I'm not going to say what I spent on it. You can say what you spent on yours. But that was a good one because it talked about the lung attacking virus in 2020. That's weird, right? But also in that same issue, I don't have it here with me, but in that same issue, we have Bill Gates being interviewed by John Kennedy Jr. Bill Gates. And in it, he's talking about basically the Patriot Act. He said that...
Right. You posted that. I saw that.
Yeah, that's just insane. So for those people who didn't see it, John just said, "What do you think about internet privacy?" And Bill Gates said, "Well, the U.S. is is the greatest we believe in privacy country, but after a period of terrorism, they might be more willing to give up that privacy." So, and then he also said in that same article, he said, "I fund population control." Crazy. And I didn't know this. I feel stupid for not knowing this, but maybe someone else doesn't know it. MSNBC, I didn't realize was Microsoft NBC like merged together. What could go wrong there? That
combination. Yeah, I feel like I knew that, but like I never really made the connection. Like, oh, MSNBC, okay, cool. But you never really thought it through. Where it's like, oh, it's the tech companies merging with the mainstream media.
Right.
Like you said, what could go wrong? It's like everything.
Yeah, exactly. I've told people a lot of times this one is a great issue. This one was actually
Mar-a-Lago, the Winter White House.
The Winter White House, but of the 57 issues, which people who know gematria, 57 is George, but of the 57 issues, Donald Trump's on the 47th cover. That's pretty cool. I don't know if they meant to do that or if that was just a coincidence. And
do you think that there's some setup with Mar-a-Lago with? Okay, so Art of the Deal talks about Trump dealing with the woman from the Post family.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He bought it from her, and he actually made an offer that was less than what other people were offering.
Yeah.
Do you think he disclosed what his plans were in terms of the Kennedy lineage? Like, how did he get that property? Well, I think that's an untold story.
He's a good businessman. He knows how to negotiate. He's a New Yorker, so
this is beyond negotiation. It's like people are offering them more money. There's more to this.
It could be. Someday, I hope we find out all the little details like this. We could just go to someone and say, "How did this happen?"
Well, the good news, according to Letitia James, we can get Mar-a-Lago for $18 million. So we just pool our money.
18 million. Donald Trump just took an 18-point lead in Iowa, according to the Des Moines Register. Yeah, that's amazing. 18.
Did you see the article today in Daily Mail?
I didn't. What did it say?
The Daily Mail was talking about JFK Jr. and Carolyn. That it's just Google Daily Mail, right? Everybody can do this who's watching. Google Daily Mail JFK Jr. Right, and you're going to get a headline that says, "Was his plane crash a murder-suicide attempt?"
What? Oh my!
It's absurd, but I think they're starting to bring exposure. I think they're starting to.
Look at this. Daily Mail 5 hours ago, JFK Jr. almost killed his ex-girlfriend in a horrific kayaking accident. Why are they talking about this? Why are they talking about this? Ooh,
Daily It's funny as hell.
Daily Mail. This was from May 21st of this year. I didn't see this. The ugly early days of JFK Jr.'s romance with Carolyn Bessette.
And Carolyn's cocaine habit.
Yeah.
Her voracious. They called her voracious cocaine habit.
Why now? Why now?
It's good. It's good.
And there's a new book coming out written by Rosemary Terenzio, who was JFK Jr.'s very trusted assistant, probably his closest friend beyond Carolyn.
She's the one who sent me with the signed copy of the first one that you've seen that I have.
Yeah.
She was the one who wrote that letter with it. It's almost like the COA, the Certificate of Authenticity. She's the one, Terenzio. Yeah, she's the one that wrote that letter. I'll send it to you.
I'm so
actually, I probably have it here somewhere.
Send that to me because she's writing a book along with others. I'll say et al. Rosemary et al. And I ordered the book. This is crazy, Matt. All right. This book was previously expected August 28th. I got a notice today. And I don't know if y'all can see. Let me see this.
Little over. Yep.
There we go. Look at that. Now arriving. What date is that?
Oh my gosh. July 16th.
Can you? I don't know. I mean, for people who don't know, that's the 25th anniversary of JFK Jr.'s plane crash. Pretty ironic, right? It's supposed to come in August, and now it's coming on July 16th. This is coming. By the way, I'm not drinking alcohol right now.
I just got a bottle of wine. Here's a free plug for this company, but Belliana, They have a very good wine. I just go on their website. They have really good Pinot Noirs. If anybody out there likes Pinot Noir, it's Belliana.
Nice.
Very, very good bottle. When did you get involved? Like, when did you find the 17th letter of the alphabet? When did you start seeing the posts? And where did you see the posts? And through who? Or on your own?
I was behind because I had a full-time job. I had kids. In 2017, when
you have responsibilities, kid?
I mean, in 2017, I think back to 2017 in October when it started posting. I had a 1-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So, and I was working full time, and I was just, living my life. I voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Didn't vote in 2012 because I didn't really like Obama, or was it Romney?
I didn't either.
Was it Romney?
It was, Romney.
It was Romney. Yeah. I was like, I don't really like either one of these guys. I'm just not going to vote. So
fuck those guys. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you said it. I didn't have to say it. So yeah, I voted for Trump in 2016, and I was conservative, but I just never really paid attention to, there's like conservative and there's like, what's going on type of conservative.
Right.
So I was just a conservative. Now I'm obviously different, but I would say what woke me up is COVID, big time. There were some questions about certain events. I don't want to get like this taken down, but the thing that Alex Jones is in trouble for, I had a lot of questions about that, just based on the layout, based on all the commentary. It didn't add up. And
can I just interject real fast?
Yeah.
Alex, right? Just I sat next to David Hogg in a restaurant in 2020 in LA, and he had a big scar. He had a big scar across right here, as if he had facial surgery.
Wow.
Continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, so things like that, they were there, but I just didn't really have a lot of time to dig. 2020 was a gift, in my opinion. I know that that's wrong to say for some, because I know.
No, you're absolutely right. Agreed.
A lot, and
yep.
I think a lot of times when we go through heartache, it's horrible when we're in it, but then when you have time to reflect on it, you realize, wow, that was such a gift, because I would never have taken the time to think about things. And so what woke me up was watching Trump's his public, being questioned by the press. And then literally on the 5 o'clock news, right after his press conferences, they would lambast him and basically say the exact opposite of what I just heard him say. So it was almost like it was done on purpose. Like, you have the press conference and then you have the news right afterwards. So you have this perfect comparison of how they take what he's saying. And there was no question. I knew that the media was left-wing based on the way that they portrayed Donald Trump, but I didn't really listen to it enough to be like, wow, it's really bad. So it was 2020 for me. And then as far as the Q stuff, I saw a documentary that I think a lot of people saw in 2020. And I don't know why, but when I saw it, I had no doubt that it was true.
Janet Osegard, Fall of the Cabal.
Yes. When I saw it, it was the first thing that made sense to me in the last 5, 10, I don't even know how many years. It was the first thing that was like, wow, this finally something makes sense. It ties it all together. So yeah. What about you?
I feel like just before I answer that question, I feel like anybody that watches the Fall of the Cabal, you have to sit there for 3.5 hours or 4 hours, but it will literally tell you everything. It's just the most eye-opening. I found it I was actually pretty early. I would say mid 2018. And that's where I actually started. I found Kelly. Kelly just appeared in my YouTube feeds. Nice. Because I realized I'm like, okay, there's definitely something to these posts. Like, there's no question that these timestamps are matching up to Trump's timestamps of his tweets, similar context in between. I'm like, I just realized I'm smart enough to know to go somebody who's smarter than me about this stuff. So I found Kellyanne, I found Jennifer, summer of 19, I found Juan. Mm-hmm. There's those other people that were in some of the videos. I forget their names now. Some Anons, Serial Brain, who's now doing And We Know, right? He used to do Serial Brain, if you remember. Yeah. Just unbelievable information that these guys, I don't know how they click into it. They must have some gift. I don't know what it is. Like, this stuff would just go over my head. And it still does in a lot of, like, I sit on Kellyanne show and sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, yep. 129, yep, gotcha, even though I know that's the time of death. But
Right.
I just rely on those types of people, including you, because you seem to like understand the numbers. It seems like you've picked up on that stuff over the years, real fast. So it comes to you.
Yeah, I would say I didn't look for that at all. It just, I'm like, I've told this story a million times, so I apologize. But just seeing I saw 4s and 7s literally everywhere. And it was almost like once you open your mind to the fact that reality isn't, and this sounds woo woo, but like what we're living is all manufactured. Everything that we see on TV is what we're supposed to
It's a
see.
fact.
Everything that we do it's supposed to be that way. We're very controlled. Once you like step out of that box and think like, wow, I wonder what it would be like if we didn't have this cage around us all the time. Then it's almost like God sends you things. He's like, okay, finally, now I can send her things and she'll actually understand it.
Right.
Or it was
Right.
like all these things probably were coming, and they did in the past, but not like this. So I feel like once you open yourself up to that, then God is like, okay, now I can. And what's crazy is a lot of people are like, oh, gematria, it's bad. It's really not, because it led me here. It led me back to God. Not that I had strayed away from him. It was just life got busy. I wasn't going to church at that time. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm praying every day. I mean, that was never a question, but like, it just really brought me back into that. So I think a lot of people can agree with me that that's what happened when they went on this journey. They ended up searching and then they end up right back, that they realize this is a spiritual war. This is good versus evil. It's literally God versus evil. So what side do we want to be on?
That's how it hit me.
Yeah.
Like I was not raised religiously at all. As a matter of fact, my dad is my Jewish half of my family, and his philosophy growing up that I always heard over and over was, where was God when they killed 6 million Jews? Because my great grandparents died in the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, I like you exactly what you just said. It's like you got to pick a side, you got to pick a lane,
Right.
and it's like I chose a lane some years ago, and I started realizing, like, yeah, this is good versus evil.
Mm-hmm.
And I started going to church for a little bit, but I find doing good deeds for people, just trying to, do right by people, do, nice, whatever it is that I can do, help out for whatever it is. That to me is really where I find that, like, going to church for me doesn't do it anymore. Like, even the church, like, we have Dream City out here. I've heard some rumors about Dream City Church out here, and who knows? It's speculative, but
yeah.
You probably have heard some of the same things.
I've heard not about them, but I mean, a lot of these mega churches that have lots of followers and these pastors make lots of money. Yeah, we've heard some things about them, and it does make it kind of taints the whole church experience. I recently found a new one. I found a pastor that I really like, and he's kind of helped me make sense of some things. So that's been really good for me. But
there's just the people you keep around you.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the people you associate with. Are they like-minded? Are they in the same mindset? Or are they still living it? Like, I can't be around people. I don't care if you're a conservative, like, I could care less. Like, I have to be like, the people I want to be around are the people that are in our mind space. And if you're not, like, I'll be nice. Like, I'm not going to be mean to anybody, but right. It's not people that I want to have in my home.
I know. I feel this. I feel bad, but I'm the same way. And I've got friends who hate Donald Trump, and I just don't talk about politics with them. But I'm also, I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to support who I want to support. And I would hope that they would
feel the same.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Who cares?
So, 2020, it was like, my God, if you said you supported Donald Trump, it was horrible. I feel like it's getting better now in 2024. I mean, the tides are turning.
The tides have turned.
Yeah.
180.
So too.
180.
Right. I would agree with
180. That. What do you see happening? What do you see happening in 2024? Do you think there's I've said many times, I don't see any election happening. What are your predictions?
Well, I hope that Donald Trump can go to the convention, because I'm going to be there. So if he's not there, I'm going to be really upset. But it's going to be weird to see what happens if he's sentenced on the 11th. And then what happens? Is he sentenced to house arrest and then he can't go to the convention? I've heard talk that people are going to try to vote him in as the candidate prior to the 11th, like remotely they're going to do this vote. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. And it's like 2 weeks away. So, well, what, 3 weeks away?
Right.
Crazy. And so I really don't know. I know something big's going to happen this year. It has to. This is like the year. Something has to happen. And I don't think we can go through another election where Trump loses. If that happens, I think it's not going to be a good situation. So we can't have that. He has to win, or, who knows what's going to happen. I don't know. It's going to be not good. So
Trump or death.
A lot of people are to that point, and I know that there's a lot of former veterans and such that took the oath to protect the Constitution, and they're not happy. And it's not like they're going to go do something stupid, but they're just not satisfied with where this country's going. They can see what's being done. This country's being taken away. I've seen such horribly sad videos of veterans like crying, saying, "What was it all for?" Seeing the current state of the country, and it just breaks my heart. We just had D-Day. When we were at Reawaken, the first time I was there, I was watching videos of veterans talking about the memories of D-Day. I didn't realize I knew it was a terrible battle. I guess I just didn't look into it much. I was crying before bed, listening to these stories of these men. And then to think where we're at today with the entitlement and how everyone they think that freedom is free and this country's horrible when you have people who gave their life. It's just, or they watch their best friend be killed the second they opened the door of the boat, they got shot down. So things have to change.
I'm no fan of Tom Hanks, but Saving Private Ryan. You never seen that movie?
I haven't. No.
You should go watch that movie, because they do the D-Day scene to a T. Like, it's incredible. And I know, we know the story with Tom Hanks.
Right.
It's unfortunate too. It's like all these celebrities and people you might have liked too, you love their movies, like Robert De Niro. You just did a video on Robert De Niro. It sucks. I love Goodfellas. Casino. I would love watching Casino and Goodfellas back to back. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable movies. But it's like Joe Pesci. Where did Joe Pesci go? He just disappeared from Hollywood one day. Why? Right. Maybe he didn't want to get involved in what De Niro was getting involved in.
Right.
I think what's happened is the mafia took over the country.
It's an I think the mafia and a lot of other secret societies where their allegiance is not to the Constitution, their allegiance isn't to making sure America stays the America we wanted it, the founding fathers wanted it to be, but rather they've got this little handshake, hidden, shadowy, whatever they have going on, and their allegiance is to each other, not to the Constitution, not to us, the American people. So I think that's definitely part of it.
Yeah, you see these dopes, Fannie Willis and Letitia James, these people are idiots. They probably got a couple $1 million payoff among, think about all these people, the ballot stuffers and all these stuff. What do you think is going to have, what meaning does this money going to have to you in 5 years from now? You're going to have nuclear war.
I know.
George Soros he's a pretty smart guy, because he picked the dumbest people for these positions.
I know.
He picked literally the dumbest people that don't even think about the things that we're talking about here. And it's what country are you going to have? Where are you going to spend that money? What good is your mansion?
I know. That's crazy how many people, when they get offered money, of all things, money. I mean,
it's terrible.
It's I just don't understand it. I really don't. I don't. I've been poor before. I survived, and I was just fine. And if I had to go back to that, I don't want to, but if I had to, I know that I would be okay. I mean, really, people need to get their priorities in line really bad.
That's probably what this process is about.
Right.
Getting our priorities straight.
Exactly.
This culture of vanity and just, Vanity Fair, right? Vanity Fair magazines.
Right. I know.
So, point blank, is Junior alive?
Well, if you watch my videos, I think you can get a pretty clear answer. I never come out and say it just because then you get attacked by people, with
Right.
mainstream media. So it's kind of a plausible deniability type of thing. But if you watch my content, I think you would get my answer pretty clearly with what I think. And sometimes with how I say things, you might get a picture of what I think. What do you think, Matt? Do you think he's around still?
I do. And I'll come out and say it, and I'll take all the criticism and whatever people want. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just based on, the old George magazines, reading some of those, your videos, which put stuff into context. How did you get those clips of, you had the one, I think it was episode 71, where they're in the big meeting room and it sounds like Trump calling in, talking about the plane crash. That was Trump.
I'll have to go back and look and see which one you're talking about.
I just don't know where you find these clips because YouTube suppresses these things. These things don't exist. Like, where do you get these clips? Some of these things.
Some of them I've had saved on my phone for a while, so I just go back and that's how I kind of look for content.
Right.
But you're right. Some things get taken down, especially if it has Donald Trump in it. For the most part, JFK Jr. videos have stayed up, unless Trump's in it. Maybe they take those down they're more likely to. But I don't know. I'm just sitting here looking. I've got like 3 of them just sitting right next to me because I had these in my studio when I did the last episode. But
so you're saying you have one of these in your studio?
Yeah. Yep. I sure do. I have. I just did the one on the women. That was kind of an interesting one too. They were talking about the 20 most fascinating women, and they had women that had like, now when we look back, they're women that have like JonBenet Ramsey's mother, and then Timothy McVeigh's sister. So it's like, man, why did they pick these women? Because they're not really political, they're not overly political. So what did they want us to look into those people more so that we look into the situation they were involved in? I don't know. It's so interesting and it's so intriguing.
I think Timothy McVeigh was a patsy.
A lot of people think that, and I've seen pictures of someone who looks like him.
I've spoken to special forces. I have a friend who's a bomb maker in the special forces that analyzed the explosion, and he's like, this is some guy in the Middle East, and he knew the guy's name. He's like, I know exactly who the bomb maker was, and he worked on that case in Oklahoma City. And this is a special forces dude, combat, done everything you can imagine on a battlefield.
Didn't he have supposedly? Didn't he have a van in front of the building, and it did all of that? Where was it? I can't remember exactly where it was, but that damage, when you look at the aerial shot of what it did.
There's no way that could have done that unless you had a nuke.
It's almost comical to look back at why people believe that just that would actually do that kind of damage. The same thing with the Nashville. Remember Christmas Eve, 2020, or I think it was 2020.
Yep, the bomb.
The bomb that went off, and it was this little camper, and it did it went up so high. It's this is not real life. This is crazy. I don't know anything about bombs though. So maybe I need an education in how
bomb making,
powerful these can be. I guess I don't know. I've never looked into it before. I think I'd probably be put on some kind of a list if I started looking into that. Really don't have any interest in that, but yeah.
Rachel, right side bomb maker. No, joking. Don't listen to me, YouTube. What else has been going on? What are you working on? What kind of projects? You're doing your channel?
Yep.
Are you venturing off into anything?
I'm focusing on the George collection, which I've been doing since January of 2022. This week will be episode 112. And I'm really just passionate about JFK Jr.'s George. This magazine it was ahead of its time. And I feel like there's clues in there and someone has to dig. It's like an archaeologist digging into the ground for historical pieces, little nuggets that you can take out and then put it together and try to make something with the little fossils. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. And it was supposed to just be a hobby of mine because I still am a mother. I still have a job. I still have a life, but this is something that it's just a passion, a hobby. So, and I figured, I'm going to look through these. Maybe I'll just make a show that talks about what I find, and maybe I'll find some really cool stuff. Maybe I won't, but I think I found some pretty cool stuff personally.
You did. And I've always been a fan of your videos. Your videos, like, they hammer home the point. You have not only the the just the way your imagery, like I said, it's like American Prophet. Like, do you remember the American Prophet videos?
Yeah, I do.
Those are like incredible. Those are incredible. That was definitely Q Team, 100%.
Well, if you're comparing, yeah, I am honored that you think that, because I use a program that has different B-roll, stuff for B-roll, and then there's all kinds of, the audio choices are crazy. I mean, whenever I have to pick a song, you guys would laugh because it takes me days to pick a song for my videos. I'm very particular.
And the music's great.
The music has to hit right. It
does. It really does.
Because it's got to be perfect. So if you watch my videos and you listen to the music, just know it took me probably 3 hours to pick that song. It's bad. It's really bad. A lot of other things I can just I'll just throw it together. But the music's got to be good. It's got to be perfect. And then I have like my little saved of my favorites. It was kind of weird because the intro song that I had originally, because I've updated my intro and outro probably maybe a month or two ago. The first song that I had, I loved, but the artist who created that song, they left the program that I was in. So every time, every single time they were claiming copyright. So then I'd have to go to through this process to show like, no, I've purchased the rights.
Right.
Every single video. So I thought, okay, it's time for me to update the intro anyway. So I'll just pick a different song. I'll update it all. I'll freshen it up. And so I like this song just as much as the first one too. But I was kind of sad at first because it took me a long time to find that. That was the thing that took.
It's similar. It's very similar, but it's a little bit faster paced. It's got a little bit more up tempo to it.
Right. It's kind of mysterious, cinematic type documentary. I don't know.
You haven't done any videos on Michael Jackson, have you?
No, I don't think I have.
That would be a good one for you. I feel like you should do a Michael Jackson dig.
That'd be fun. And I think was he on one? No, I don't think he was on the cover of any Georges.
Because you'd have Dave. Have you ever seen the Larry King interviews with Dave?
Yeah.
That's him. That's freaking him.
When you listen to the voice and then you hear people talk about how he used to dress up as a burn victim. Did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being famous and you just want some privacy. I don't know if I would pick the burn victim. I feel like people would look at you more. I would just go as like a normal, but to each their own.
I'm just saying from a fan perspective of your work, I would want to see you do a Michael Jackson dig, because I feel like what you'd find, his connection with Trump, Don Jr., right, playing video games. Right then, Don Jr. did that video. Did you ever see that video where he's like, "I found Michael Jackson"? This is like last year. He's like, Michael Jackson's. Yes. He's like, Michael Jackson's alive, and he was in the hospital parking lot. And then the video ended with a photo of Nancy Pelosi.
That caught my attention. I think it caught everyone's attention. Like, what?
Yeah,
Jackson. Yeah,
I feel like MJ would be a great piece of subject matter for you. Who am I? I don't.
That would be. Have you ever thought about doing some digs and doing like documentary type? You're probably too busy.
It's not that I'm busy. I just feel like there's better minds for it than me. Like, I just enjoy watching your stuff and a few other people. Obviously Kellyanne, she does another great job of it. I feel like you do it kind of like the way American Prophet did it, with the imagery, the music, communication. Like, you're communicating. You've even told me they're like, "Oh, did you catch this communication in my video?" I'm like, no. Like, how to throw it in there. Like, maybe I could pull it off, but I suck at video editing. I'm good. If anybody's interested in gold and silver, that I'm good at. Speaking of which, like, Here's what people should be doing. They should be getting into Kennedy. That's a 2024.
That's pretty.
Just buy Kennedy coins.
2024, huh?
2024. What I did was I bought the Kennedys from all the Trump years.
Mm.
So I feel like the Kennedy, especially the 2017, which is Trump's inauguration, Kennedy's 100th birthday.
Yep.
And it's got 17 in it.
Touche.
Right.
Matt, you have to be the most. I'm jealous of your collection. I really am. He'll send me pictures of a book. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Lessons encouraged.
Yes.
That's an original 1956 copy signed by President Kennedy. I actually sent it to Juan earlier today. He's like, there's probably not even 500 of those that exist.
I don't even want to know what you spent on that. That's my
brain. It was a good deal of money, but I'll tell you this: it's like you can buy gold and silver, and I obviously recommend come to Midas Gold Group, folks. Buy gold and silver. No, I think collectibles are a great place to do it. So the George magazines, right? Survival Guide to the Future. People should be buying this stuff, because on the far side of what's coming, this stuff everybody's going to want it. Anything having to do with President Kennedy and just the idea of Camelot. It's like it returns. It's
yeah.
It's like think ahead. It's like, okay, I dropped on that lessons. I'll just say it here. I don't even care. Lessons Encouraged. I paid $5,000 for that book after negotiating it. Yeah. But that's 2 ounces of gold, right? That's essentially 2 gold eagles, maybe basically the same price.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, why not diversify in some of the collectibles, understanding that's probably owning, I don't like spending that kind of money on this stuff, but I understand with the knowledge that I think we have, I think it's something that on the other side, on the far side of this, it's going to be something extremely valuable. And it's not for sale. I don't even want to sell it. Like I want it for me. Like I want it for my family heirloom. That's the funniest part. That's why I get my survival guide signed out to me by Flynn or Bannon or Pastor Bob. Like it's like, originally, I was starting to buy the original George magazines. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a fortune. I'm going to turn these around for a profit. It's like, I realized at a certain point, I'm like, I don't want the fucking money. I want the magazine. I want this to be mine.
Right.
So I think what I'm going to do this wall back here is I'm going to do every George magazine on it, framed.
See, but you gotta not let the sunlight through. That's one of the reasons. Like I thought about displaying them, but then I was worried because in my office, you got the sunlight comes in the afternoon and it's really bright. Some of my books, the bind of the book is just like, it's just white now. So I'm like, ooh, I don't want that to happen to my George magazine. So I've got them.
Well, I'm in Arizona. The sun's not a problem out here.
Oh, well.
It's like living on the surface of the sun out here.
You just need to go get some like blackout curtains and just keep that room as if it's
a
photo room or something.
I could.
Safe. Or
I want to do like a museum. Like I want to do like a museum of all my stuff where I have some of the very cherished, Kennedy stuff. Like I've got a lot of signed Kennedy by President Kennedy, John Jr. Like I feel like it'd be a really good, like we could tell a story with the different stuff.
Right.
Like I have items that I picked up on his family heirloom that like I've told you, I want to give it to him.
Right.
If he comes back.
I would visit your museum. I'd come look at it. I definitely.
I know you will.
I would pay admission to come see.
We give you discount admission. We discount it for you.
Thanks. 2 for 1. Only on Saturday.
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome though. If you can, that's the thing though. See, I like sunlight, so I want the sun coming in when I'm working in the office. Otherwise, it's like a dungeon. So I'll
trade places with you because I could use some cool right about now. What's the temp like in Iowa?
It's hot. It was like
hot?
It was like 93. Yeah, it was hot.
Oh, okay.
Today, I was outside. I went for a jog today, and it was a hot one. I survived.
What do you see? How do you see Q evolving in the coming months or years? What do you see happening? I have my ideas. What are your ideas?
Well, I just lost you for a second. There you are. I think I see it coming back. and maybe starting to explain some things, maybe not the drops, but just like now it's like, okay, let's solve the puzzle. I've been giving you all the pieces to figure it out yourself, and now let's maybe, I don't know.
Do you get the sense that you're meeting some of the players?
I get the sense, this is crazy, but I get the sense that Q like knew things and knew certain people would emerge at certain times. So I feel like, or perhaps they knew that they were going to emerge, but I think the players are all of us. I feel like we're all in this.
Agreed.
And it's weird. It's hard to explain, but it's like they knew somebody would emerge. They knew somebody would be a gold guy. I mean, I just feel like, how could they not? If they knew everything else that they foretold. I mean, George Magazine tells what's going to happen. There's certain things that they called. It's hard to imagine they didn't see this part of it, like the part that it's like watching that Never-Ending Story, and he's reading the book. Have you seen that movie?
Of course.
And then he realizes like he's in it, like he's part of the story. That's literally what it's like.
Yes. And it's funny you say that, because that's exactly what happened. I was every now and then I go on YouTube and I watch Michael Jackson live performances, because they're so good. They're so good. The music's great, and the dancing choreography. I grew up in the 90s. Like I watched Michael Jackson, never paid any attention. I'm looking at stuff now. I'm like, where was I? Like, this guy's like he's the king of pop.
Yeah.
And before I even say this, let me preface it with, when I first found out about Q and John Jr., I was on the inaugural video of, it's like an 8-hour video or 10-hour video of Trump's inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody in the comments section said, look at the Tiffany blue. This is what started everything for me, believe it or not. This right here. This is, in case you want to know. Somebody said, look at the Tiffany blue. That's John Jr.'s back. Da-da-da, right? And I looked into it, and then that sent me into a whole rabbit hole of digging. And I went back like a year later, and I commented to the person, I'm like, I have a survival guide to the future I want to send to you. I never got any response. But nowadays, I just found myself like 2 days over the weekend, I was like on the Michael Jackson, I was watching Smooth Criminal. So YouTube, Smooth Criminal, maybe you can see my comment. I'm like, somebody's like, I miss Michael. He was the greatest ever. And I'm like, Michael Jackson lives. Like the same thing that this person was doing back then. So here I am repeating that behavior and just being like, just trying to lift up somebody's day just to be like, yeah, you're going to see this in concert again.
Right.
So I've like, I become that person that I found back in, 2017.
Mm-hmm. I just commented on somebody posted something on one of and mine's not as nice as yours. Mine was like, it was digging on Donald Trump. And I said, do you think that every single person who supports him is just stupid? Or do you think that maybe you're forgetting, maybe you aren't seeing something? What could that be? Like, why do you always assume that everyone,
right?
You know how like narcissistic and selfish that is to assume that you know everything and you know best when the majority of Americans are saying they want this instead? Wouldn't you at some point say, man, am I missing something here? Like I have a poem that's called It's Time, I think.
Yeah.
Says, am I missing?
That's a great video.
Am I missing something here? Because
you sent that to me early, actually.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Because I as a female, I don't know, as an American, if most of the Americans,
the boy in blue.
Yeah. If the majority of something, I don't know. It's like the emperor wears no clothes. Like, okay,
yeah.
You see this thing and you're like, I don't see anything. What am I missing here? You would at least look into it. In this case, that's not, it's the opposite, but that's what I'm saying. People need to open their minds and be like, man, I must be missing something. What am I missing here? But nobody does that.
Here's what you do. Hang on. Let me just grab this. Anybody that has any doubts, here, I got a whole stack of them. You just give them one of these hats.
I have one of those.
JenniferMack.com. TheJenniferMack.com. We'll give her a plug.
I bought one, but when did I get that? I got it in Oh, it would have been like fall of 2022. Yeah, I got one of those hats from Jennifer Mack, and I've never worn it because number one, people would think I'm absolutely insane, but I don't want it to get dirty. I just want to save it and keep it pristine so that it's beautiful. So yeah, people are on here. You wear some kind of a hat that's like a JFK Jr. hat. They'll be like, "What are you? You are literally insane."
Anybody that sees it doesn't even like know who it is. They're like, "Oh, cool hat."
Have you worn it in public?
Absolutely.
You have? Yeah.
No one has a clue. People, so it's like the last people see the face, they don't even recognize it. It's kind of funny, actually.
It would be funny. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if like the basketball, softball, baseball moms could handle. It just makes me laugh thinking about it. Like, who's that weird mom over there wearing a hat?
It's like a MAGA hat on top of a MAGA hat.
Right.
MAGA cubed.
Right. You just gotta. Sometimes I'll wear, like I used to wear my George hat. I'll wear certain things. I'll wear my America flag hat, stuff like that, and nobody could say you're a weirdo. But
well, everybody loved your shoes. Everybody loved your American flag shoes. You should sell those.
If anybody knows Melania's shoe size, I'm guessing she probably has the same shoe size as me because she's tall like me. But I would love to make her a pair. So I just need to find out what her shoe size is. And I would happily spend another 13 to 14 hours making another pair for Melania. But I don't know what size she wears.
Do you know that I have, I could probably say it. I'll say it. I have a client who is involved in the logistics of the children.
Really? Okay.
That are being rescued.
Oh, and those children. Okay.
Those children.
Okay.
And she told me that Melania is playing a mother figure to those kids.
That doesn't surprise me at all. She is so brilliant, and it's horrible. She speaks like 5 different languages. Who does that? And she got just like the media just completely ruined her image. It was pretty sad to see that. And I didn't know anything about her until I dug into her for George for one of my shows. I'm like, wow, she's so smart. She's beautiful.
I feel like the media never got to her. I feel like the media didn't do anything to her image. I think everybody loves Melania. If anything, they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry that you're married to that horrible man."
No,
but her
would be like, "Oh, Melania's friend said she hates Christmas," or I don't even remember what it was. It was like she hates decorating for Christmas. It was just all high school, type stuff for her,
right?
And it just didn't paint her in a very good light. So it was too bad, but. I think all of obviously conservatives love her and love it what she's doing, and Barron's amazing. I guess he's hilarious. Did you see who was the podcast that was saying that Barron is actually hilarious?
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember who it was, but somebody said it. Maybe even Donald Trump said it, but I think we're going to see a lot of Barron in the future.
Bill wants me to ask, is Melania a Romanov?
I've heard that. I've heard that theory.
Let's get Tammy's question. I don't know. Did I lose you there?
I'm here.
Hang on. I'm just trying to read. God. Sorry, I'm doing this for my cell phone. Tammy's got a question. You know Tammy. Hang on. Let me just see.
Oh my gosh. I'm just now seeing the comments, so I apologize. I haven't even looked at these. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I didn't even know they were.
I don't see the feed because Bill's handling it, but I'm getting his text. He's just texting me. And hey, Tammy, love you. Good to see you last weekend.
Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, okay, I see the Melania as a Romanov. Rachel has some pretty amazing shoes. Thank you, Brainstorm. They're pretty sweet. I got a lot of compliments on them. I did have to I brought like flip-flops along so that if once I was like, okay, my feet need a little bit of a break, I would just
I remember.
Then I'd switch them back on. So
and you're about 3 inches shorter.
I was. But I like being tall. I played basketball. It helped me there, but I don't know.
My sister's your height.
You what?
My sister's 5'11".
She gets it. And a lot of tall girls will not wear heels, and I think that's sad. I think if you want to wear heels, wear the heels.
Wear them.
Just own it. You're already 5'11", 6 feet tall. What's 6'3"?
Exactly.
Who cares? So someone said, is this live? Yes, this is live.
This is live. It's actually our first live. We did it with you.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I'm very honored. I don't do lives very often because usually I stutter and I feel like I sound like an idiot sometimes. So I like to edit it all out. So you guys are
Well, we're friends, so like it makes it easy. That actually made it easy for me. It's like, oh, it's Rachel. Okay, good. This is it's easy.
It's true. I feel like there's a lot of people in the chat who witnessed my spoon game. So if anybody doesn't know what spoons is, it's a card.
Yeah, you got spoon game, you too.
Did you play?
I played for like a little bit. I'm like, I hate this game. I was like so slow at it.
Because you were terrible at it. I understand.
I was terrible. I was just like, all right.
Spoons. It's a game. It's a card game. You have to get 4 of a kind, but it's like you gotta pay attention because it's like musical chairs. So if there's 7 people playing, there's only 6 spoons. So one person won't get one.
Right.
Well, I about had my hand ripped off by Bill. He was not letting go, and I wasn't letting go. We were just literally like pulling. I had 2 hands on it, and I was pulling it, and he had the easy part, like the head part. So it was
right.
Anyway,
he's cheating.
Everyone got to see my competitive side. We had a lot of fun, and I would love to play spoons again in the future because it was just really fun.
Bill actually did a Arkansas video that we're going to release, so that'll be nice. It's about time. Took us a while, but we're going to get it. But the question that the other person asked, because I don't have him here, Bill's just sending it to me, but was Michael Jackson ever mentioned in the original George magazines? I don't think so.
No, he's not on the cover. That's not true. Hold on one second. I think there's one, and it's the one with Roseanne was on it, and there's covers, there's TVs, and I think he's one of the TVs. I'm going to look really quick while you read some more.
Okay. Go for it.
While you read some more comments, I'll look. Let's just find out.
Let me see. Do I get the chat here?
Oh, I was right. Okay. There he is.
Oh, it's yeah. That's the right.
I can't see.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Barbara Walters.
Roseanne was on this one too. Roseanne she's a big
Daniel for National Notables broke that one down.
Did he? I didn't see that one.
We got to get in touch with him. I feel like you two would make a great team. I know, we both did.
I really did. I tried to get a hold of him. I think he's doing, like, I think he's a pastor.
Pastor.
He's really focused on that now. So, which, if he wants to move on from the George world, more power to him. But I really appreciated I didn't even see his shows. When I started mine, someone's like, "Where's Daniel?" I'm like, "Who's Daniel? What's this all about?" And so then I went and looked. I'm like, "Oh, somebody else has kind of been doing this."
Yeah, we tried to contact him that time. We tried to get in contact with him. Daniel from anybody watching, you go to National Notables on Rumble, and you'll see his channel with the George magazine. He does A+ work. A+.
Yep.
I wonder if he's like following what's going on. Maybe just said to hell with everybody. Gave up, his cell phone and everything, and just said to hell with everybody. But he did read. I noticed on Facebook, because I have like a phantom Facebook. He did read my comment, because you can see the blue. You can see like the blue checks.
Right.
So he did read it. So he does still have a cell phone.
He just doesn't. There's a lot of people that were popular in 2017 early on, or 2020 even when I was there, and then they just kind of. It's a long haul. So you have to really be patient. That's why I only do one show a week, because I didn't want to get so, make it so hard that I couldn't continue with it. So
yeah.
How much can I do with making no money on this and just making it a hobby? I can do one a week. That's my goal. That's what I've been doing. So Bill, ask them if they think that Melania is part of the Q team. I do. From my understanding, I think Melania does a lot of she like looks at people online. I think she does a lot of the reading. So if she sees something favorably or not favorably of Donald, I think that she's an extra set of eyes and ears, but I also think that she does a lot of directing as well. There's no way she couldn't be part of it. So,
I mean, she's communicating in flags, right?
yeah, and that's another great point. Her dresses are.
And Trump's born on Flag Day.
That's so true. I didn't think about that.
As a matter of fact, I bought like from the 90s. It might even be from the 80s. It was brand new, still the tag on. It was super 80s, 90s, like windbreaker jacket. It was Trump Marina. And the flags, Bill actually pointed this out to me. Bill's like, the flags say Trump. And if you look at the different countries' flags, it's TRUMP.
Oh my gosh. See, okay.
So for her to communicate in flags today, I mean, what it tells me is that this operation's been going on for a way longer time than even we've been led to look. Like a lot of, like, I used to think it was like, okay, maybe the 90s, right? I think it goes back to Eisenhower for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Eisenhower's. What do you think of Eisenhower now that we're on that subject?
I haven't dug into him too much, but I know, like you have, I've heard you talk about him, and you've shown your. Oh, I thought you were going to grab your Eisenhower.
I grab some wine.
But I thought you asked me that question as a segue into you were going to grab it, and then you're going to like talk about.
I don't have that in here. I have that locked away. But yeah, the Eisenhower. Anybody considering? I don't do it. Midas doesn't really do it, but I think the Eisenhower coin series is the way to go.
Yeah.
$1 coins. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. You were talking about it.
No, I was just going to say they're $1 coins.
Yeah. I will say this. JFK Jr., I've read a lot of books about him. And, think about his life. He was raised under the supervision of obviously his mother, but the Secret Service. So, and he loved airplanes and helicopters, and he loved military stuff. He learned how to salute when he was young, obviously, but then they taught him all kinds of things. So imagine having that kind of knowledge as you're growing up, like maybe codes, semaphore, like military code, that this is
semaphore. Yeah.
But not just semaphore, but like actual, like, this is what happens at this ceremony. This is what's typical in this ceremony. Like, I would have no clue because I don't know, like, oh, they're going to walk over here and they're going to do this. And then I have no idea. He grew up with that. So he knows what's typical, like what's standard, what's typical. So all these things that we're seeing play out with Biden, and they're not standard. And then when you see like, well, this is what's supposed to happen and this is what's happening with Biden, that helps kind of also, it's another piece of the puzzle that's like, okay.
Right. Right. Like the three gun salute at the inauguration.
Right. Right. So all of that stuff, most Americans don't know what's typical I don't even know what's typical at like a typical funeral here in Iowa. Like, okay, do we walk up? Then do we sit down? And then what happens? I'd have to be briefed on what to do in a standard. So let alone like a military, I don't know. So
I feel like Israel has the right idea where they have their citizens serve in the military. I feel like that's a good thing. Like you do, even if it's just 2 years, I feel like that'd be good for anybody.
I'm sure they don't have people that say they hate their country and they are entitled. I mean, I don't know. Have you
think about like you go through 2 years in the military, like, and then you go to college, like you'll take college seriously. You're not going to be some jackass, like you'll actually be like, okay, went through the military, figured out some of my skill set. Maybe I want to pursue this. And that gives kids a little bit more perspective in terms of like what they want to do. It's not like serving the military means you're going to go serve combat. Probably quite the opposite. It's just preparedness, right? Hardening the soul. But go ahead. You were going to say something.
I can't remember what I was going to say because someone commented and I'm writing it down really quick just so I can look into it later. It's just interesting. the way that he grew up, JFK Jr., that is, like traveling to these different countries, all the experiences that he's had are things that I can't fathom. I grew up in Iowa. I don't think I even left the state until like fourth grade. Seriously. I mean, I literally, it was fourth grade. We went to Omaha, Nebraska, which is 2 hours away. So I was very much a homebody. Didn't get out much, just living on the farm in the middle of nowhere. And so I'm
Right.
very, what am I trying to say? I don't want to put myself down, but I was not very worldly. We'll just put it that way. I still haven't been to Europe. I've never been overseas. So there's a lot of things I have to learn. But when I was reading the book about him, I was like, gosh, I can't even imagine having a life like that, like a childhood, having all of those opportunities of learning from the Secret Service and getting to go overseas at such a young age and having these, these lessons taught to you, these real life lessons taught to you. It just makes so much more sense with the Q thing and what we think is going on, the knowledge he has, the knowledge he had growing up. It all plays into this greatly. So part of me was like, gosh, that'd be so cool. I'm kind of jealous. I grew up. I mean, I'm not mad with how I grew up, but it would be cool to have those experiences. You just know.
Do you think Patrick Bouvier? Do you think he made it?
Maybe. Maybe. What do you think?
Okay. I don't have an opinion. I don't know much on it, actually. That's one of the subjects that I'm completely don't ask me. I don't know. But it would make sense. It would start to make sense.
Right.
I definitely think the brother Joe Kennedy Jr., I think he was killed. I don't think he died in that military crash.
If you look at all of the different, when I was going to interview RFK Jr., I was looking through their family history just to see, and it was insane to me. Again, you think you have a pretty good grasp on their family history, but then you really dig into it, and you're like, holy cow! Like all of them, almost all of them, something crazy weird happened. It's insane.
It's insane. Do we have any other questions from audience? Probably not a huge audience, but we're at 108.
Someone brought up Arabella. I had somebody ask me about Arabella in a Telegram. I went on a Telegram. I don't know what they're called. They're like, you get on there and you can talk. It's like a chat. And someone invited me on there, and I didn't realize that I was the one that was supposed to talk for like the 30 minutes. So I'm like, hi, I'm Rachel, and just gave like a quick 5-minute intro of myself. I was like sitting there, I'm like, okay, well, how's everybody doing?
How you doing?
We're supposed to be talking. I was like, oh. Nobody.
I always find this stuff it's more fun on the fly anyway. It's like,
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it.
I don't either.
Time. I mean,
the hell do we know?
I don't know. I'm just here to, have a good time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking through here. Jackie had him stay on John Perry Barlow's ranch, and that was a cool story. I did a show on that. Glowcat mentioned that. Hey, Glowcat.
Glowcat. Love Glowcat.
She's here.
My girl.
She's commenting about Jackie and John Perry Barlow. And John Perry Barlow wrote a book. It's called Mother American Night. Mother American Night. John Perry Barlow was a lyricist for the Grateful Dead. And
you told me that.
He passed away, but I would have loved to just have a beer with him. He just was such a cool person and such a cool soul.
Yeah.
But JFK Jr. was causing a lot of issues in New York City, and Jackie wasn't really sure what to do with him. So she called around, and she actually found this rancher in Wyoming named John Perry Barlow. And she sent him off to live with this guy to, let him run free, I guess, and kind of just I think she thought John Perry Barlow was going to like make a man out of him or something, or like, watch him. But that was not what happened. Like they were blowing stuff up and like, driving too fast, experimenting with things. I mean, the stories. And then John Perry Barlow tells a story of how John got into this car and he threw the car in reverse and went back, and both of the car doors were open.
I've heard this story.
The post. He just took both doors off all at once.
It's awesome.
At the same time. And John just put his head on the steering wheel and he's like, is that expensive to fix? So I just, he would have been a cool guy to get to know. But stories like that, I just, when like I had an event in February and I was listening to a book just about John's life, and I found myself crying because you just kind of like, you put yourself in his shoes, and you're thinking, your father gets taken out. And then your uncle, who becomes like your father, he gets taken out. It's just really, it's like a sad, depressing life to grow up with that. Like he was 3 years old when that happened. But
on his birthday.
Yeah, but he never lived like that. He didn't live his life in a somber tone. He lived it, he was just happy-go-lucky. He was a good guy. Everybody loved him. They knew he was a little absent-minded, little politically incorrect. His language maybe wouldn't be accepted these days. But I think just everything I've read would just be awesome to, spend a day.
I remember as a little kid, it was my aunt's birthday, who was the publisher of George Eleanor. And we drove into the city, because we lived in Long Island, and we drove into Manhattan to visit my aunt. My aunt had just come from George headquarters, Manhattan, to meet us at her birthday. Mm-hmm. Would have just been cool if like Junior showed up there. I wish I would have met him at the time. I would have been a little kid, but that would have been cool.
That would have been amazing. Isn't it crazy? You think about, gosh, I don't know what movie that is. I can't remember the name, but like when you're at a place, when you're like 5 years old and someone walks by you and you take a picture and that person's behind you, and then you meet them when you're like 25 years old, you're at the same
right.
place. Like, I just love those crazy little coincidental, I don't know, serendipitous moments where you just meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I was there at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I did that in Hawaii. I photobombed this older couple. I was just like this in the background. I was like, doing some face, and they turned around after they saw that. They looked at their phone and they turned around. They're like laughing at it. Yeah. So I totally photobombed them.
Now what's going to happen is you'll see them in like 30 years from now. They'll have a tire, and you'll rescue them, and you'll fix their tire. And
exactly.
Be like, hey, you're the guy who photoed 20 years ago.
How it works. It's how it works. It all comes around. It all comes around.
That's right.
Well, Rachel, I won't keep you. I know it's getting late over there. It's getting late over here. It's 8:15. What are you, 10:15?
It's 10:13. It's, you know what? I like to stay up. This is like my time, and moms will attest to this, okay? When your kids go to bed, that is like, you don't want to go to sleep because that is your time to just do whatever you want. So
right.
You'll do
cherish it.
Movie, whatever you want to do. So I'll probably be up for another couple hours because that's just what I do. So
cool. We'll continue the live stream in about 3 hours. So good to see you.
Everybody, we're going to take a break and we'll come back.
We're going to take a break. Be back at 2 a.m.
So funny. I'm just looking really quick again in the chat.
I got Mikey bag of donuts coming tomorrow. He's coming to my house.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Tell him I said hello.
I will.
Yeah, people are just saying, good job. Good job, Matt. Good job on your first live. You did great.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for everybody for showing up.
Yes, it was fun. We should do this again. Fun. I'll bring my kombucha.
We will.
You could just chit chat.
Absolutely, Rachel. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course. It was fun. I'll see you soon.
And I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. We're over and out. Adios.
Bye.